Going on, guys? It's New York Prepper here, and just wanted to do a video about something important related to prepping and SHTF, and that's get out of the cities as soon as you can. And that's probably one of the most important things you can do to prepare for SHTF is to get out of the city. But before I get into that, I just wanted to show you guys some of the scenery here. We had another snowstorm come through last night. It was a couple inches of snow, probably about 5-6 inches. And the previous storm, we got like 6 to 8 inches. That was Winter Storm Ezekiel, and that snow actually started melting off yesterday because the temperature rose to like 50 degrees. So all that snow melted off already, but looks like there's another fresh blanket of snow here today, which replenished all the snow that was lost from melting. So it's nice powdery snow. Temperature's about 33 degrees right now. And it's super quiet here. I don't know if you guys can hear, but it's super quiet right now. I'm working from home today, so everybody's probably working at the desk right now in their jobs, but so you can't really hear many cars around the area. But it's super quiet here, super peaceful. And so I wanted to talk about getting out of the cities today and why that's important. There was another active shooter situation yesterday in Jersey City, which is, if you guys don't know where Jersey City is, it's in the state of New Jersey, and it's right across the river from Manhattan, so it's right next to Manhattan. And so there were two gunmen. I'm sorry, guys, I had a little technical difficulty here. There were two gunmen in New Jersey, and they barricaded themselves in, and they shot 3 civilians, and 1 law enforcement officer was killed, and 3 of them were injured. And that's one reason to get out of the city. Shootings like that, they never happen up here where I live, or out in the country anywhere. You never hear of any crazy barricaded gunmen or anything like that. So that's one reason to get out, obviously, to improve your quality of life. Cities don't have the best quality of life, to be honest. Because the air is not clean. There's a high rate of crime usually. Real estate is expensive. Whether you have an apartment or a home, real estate is expensive. So living in a city is just not a favorable thing. And there's actually some rabbit tracks here. I don't know if you guys can see them. They're going up over there. You can see right in this area here, there's some rabbit tracks going up to the stone. And here's some more right here. Some little rabbit hops. Aside from having a good quality of life, moving out into the country is more favorable for, cheaper houses, cheaper taxes, better quality of life, lower crime, and better scenery. I mean, where are you going to see scenery like this, in Manhattan or, downtown Chicago? You're not going to see anything like that over there, So, God didn't intend for us to live in congested buildings with steel and concrete. He intended for us to live in nature, amongst His creatures. And, we're not made to live in concrete and steel. We need fresh air. We need clean water. We need room, space. You can't live so crowded with people all around you. It's just, we weren't made for that. And so the fundamental problem with cities is that they anytime there's a power failure, snow's pretty deep here. It's probably about 7 or 8 inches. It's pretty deep. The problem is anytime there's a power failure, the fundamental flaw with the cities is shown, and that's the fact that critical resources are lacking. There's no ability for the government inside of a big city to provide critical resources like food, water, shelter, sanitation, security during an SHTF or event or a natural disaster. If you watch videos when there's a hurricane or some type of a bad blizzard, and you'll see the problems that big cities have with security, clean water. If you live in a city, you're in a death trap basically. It's good to live in a city when everything is working and the grid is working, but once the grid goes down, you're in trouble, because you're basically 100% reliant on the city and the government to give you water, to give you sanitation. There's no space and no resources in a city. And if we're talking about SHTF, here's some deer tracks, by the way. These are just some deer tracks going into the woods here. You can see the little trail there. So let's just see what they're doing here. Yeah, they're just kind of going into the woods, walking around, doing their thing. So if you're in the city and SHTF breaks out, you're going to be in trouble, because you're not going to have fresh water anywhere. There's no natural resources. You're not going to be able to defend yourself, because most cities don't allow firearms or have very bad self-defense laws. They don't allow you to own any kind of pistol or firearm. They're extremely regulated. And when I say city, guys, I'm talking about like big cities, like New York City, Los Angeles, Detroit, Chicago, cities like that. I'm not talking about your smaller cities like 50,000 or 100, 200,000 people. Those, I don't consider that really a city. I consider that like a big town. Because when you live in a smaller city like that, you can easily just bug out. All you have to do is probably drive like 5 or 10 minutes and you're beyond the city limits. But when you live in a big city like New York City or LA, one of those types of cities, or in the surrounding suburbs, you're in a bad situation, because you're not close to any natural resources. And in order to get to those resources, you're going to have to, fight with other people, millions and millions of other people who are going to try to escape the city just like you, to get away and to get to a better area, So that could pose trouble, because you're going to be competing with other people for everything. And but aside from that, you got to think about the resources. There's no fresh water. There's no places where you can gather resources, where you can hunt, where you can fish, where you can trap. There's no place to put your sanitation. It's so crowded there that you can't you can't go out in your backyard and just bury your poop or your garbage or something. You're 100% reliant on the services provided by the city, and once those services go down, you're pretty much screwed. So out here, for example, I don't have to worry about stockpiling water, because I have 3 streams within a quarter of a mile, from my house. I can walk 15 minutes or 5 minutes and go and get right to a huge stream. I can also scavenge water from the snow here. I can melt some snow down. I can gather rainwater from my roof. I have a well. All these things, if you're in a city, you're not going to have access to. You're not going to have clean rivers and clean streams. You're not going to have, easy access to water. You're not going to have a well. Your water's 100%, municipal water, and that municipal water is going to go down once the grid goes down. So, that's going to be a problem. And then you got to consider security. You're not going to have ability to carry or own firearms in most big cities like Washington, D.C., New York, etc. They severely restrict ownership of guns. Another thing too is the higher crime rates. The higher population density means that you're going to be competing with other people for the same resources. You're going to have security issues. Aside from the fact that you're disarmed, there's more people around you. So you're going to have to protect yourself from a larger population of people, which is another problem. If you have like thousands of people within a square mile, you're going to have more encounters and more potential situations that could turn into a self-defense situation than if you have maybe 100 people within a square mile, because it's just less people overall crammed into one area. So the cities are death traps, and if you're a prepper, my advice to you guys is to get out of the city as soon as you can. Move out. If you're in a position where you can find a job in a different state or a different area outside of a city, that would be my biggest recommendation to you, and probably the first thing to do if you're a prepper and you're serious about being prepared, is to get out of the city, move out, and get away from the city as soon as you can. Your quality of life will improve, and you'll also be in a better position to be prepared if something happens. So move out of the city while you still can before SHTF happens, because the rate that we're going, SHTF can happen at any time. We got an impeachment trial, a phony impeachment trial of a president that was elected, fair and square, and they want to overturn an election, the Democrats. And aside from that, we have Russia building up their capabilities in the Arctic. We have Iran getting stronger. They're building up their missiles. North Korea's promising a gift on Christmas Day. Start preparing if you're not already, and think about moving out. Get away from the cities. Get out into the country. Get out over here. You're going to improve your quality of life. You're going to have access to natural resources. You're not going to have to compete with other people. It's going to be much easier for you to secure your home and secure your family, because there's not a whole lot of population density, and you're not going to have to worry about thousands of other people fighting for limited resources. There's clean water, there's clean air. I can go in my backyard and I can shoot down a deer if I have to. There's dozens of deer right in my backyard. I have squirrels, I have chipmunks, I have all kinds of small game out here, raccoons. There's no shortage of small game if I had to. I probably wouldn't need to do that because I'm going to store up food, but it's there just in case. I probably wouldn't want to hunt and trap unless it's absolute last resort. But the point is that I can do it if I have to, but I definitely don't want to deplete my resources here and, just start killing off every animal. It's, if I need to occasionally take a small game or something, a squirrel or a deer, the opportunity is here. So in the city, you don't have that opportunity. You don't have anything. So, so I highly recommend that you guys look into moving out as soon as possible. Get out of the city while you still can. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I'm going to be continuing with more videos this week. I have a few videos planned. I'm going to continue with my SHTF sniper rifle series. And just remember, guys, to the 3 Ps. Remember the 3 Ps? Prepare, practice, and persevere. You prepare by storing food, water, guns, ammo, critical supplies. You practice with your gear that you prepared. You know, you practice with your guns, you practice at the range, you go to the gym, you stay physically fit, you stay healthy. You practice with your gear, you practice your survival skills. You go in the woods and you practice starting fires, building shelters. Remember to persevere. So after you've prepared and practiced, you're going to persevere, and you're going to be in a better position to persevere. And then remember too that surviving SHTF is a mental game as well. It's not just about, you know, your supplies and your food. You have to mentally persevere and fight through the situation itself. So remember the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. God bless. Have a good day.